Hey, welcome. My name's Dave Armstrong. I'm the police chief in Holden, Massachusetts. Our population right now is approaching 20,000 people. We are a town administrative government. We do have a select board. We have a strong town manager charter. This building that we're going to tour today was built in 2010. We came in here in December 2010 after about a 6 to 7 year planning process. We wish it was shorter, but it took us that long. We were in a building previously that was built in 1978. At that point, it was built for about $250,000. It did have housing for 3 cells and a small dispatch center, which all kind of proved to be, in 2008, the ice storm, we were just about out of business. So in 2008, when we got hit by the ice storm, it was really evident that we needed a new facility as far as police. The town of Holden decided to go to a multi-use facility. So fire is upstairs. Holden Police is located in the lower level. The building is, when you see the pictures, is skewed a little. So we're very happy with what we have. The building actually came in approximately $15 million was set aside for the building, and it came in $2 million under budget. Some monies was put back into the building, and I'll point those things out as we go through the tour. Actually, some of them are here right now. As you see, the wood veneer, the wood siding, and actually hardy board on the outside of the building was all some of the things that were upgraded during our time. As we start here in the foyer that comes into both fire and police, this area is all Kevlar for safety. One of the things is we're a certified department for mass accreditation. We take that very seriously. We work very hard on that. And so we did everything in this building to certain mass accreditation standards. So that was nice that we were part of the building process. All the sergeants at the time, Chief George Sherrill was responsible for getting the building built for us. And during that time, he made every sergeant and lieutenant part of the building process. So we did have, from virtually shovel one, we went to all the building committee meetings, we went to planning meetings, we went to the actual construction meetings during the week. So everybody had a real working knowledge of what was going on with the building construction. One of the things, like I said, all these walls in here are Kevlar. They're bulletproof for safety. The bulletproof glass and communications. That'll probably be the last place we actually go in. But right now, like I said, serving 20,000 people, you get a lot of foot traffic in here. This is a pass-through that for safety, so they don't have to have any kind of contact, or if there's a package or something, they can do that. We're a very community-oriented department here, so we want to make sure that people could listen to us. So it's actually what they call talk-through glass. They can hear us perfectly well in there, and people can talk back and forth without a problem. The other area we added out here was Chief George Shaw was a real historian, and as a kind of a gift from the construction company, they built us our little museum out here. The department's in its 4th chief right now, and we're about 50, 60 years in the professional policing. So the chief did a great job. As you look around the building today, you're going to see a lot of history. We put a lot of history into our building. We take a lot of pride in our department. Another thing you're going to see is that there was a lot of input. We had some input from people out in the community that wanted to give something back. Everything that was hung up in here was done by an artist from town, Professor Ron Rosenstock. Decided he wanted to give something back to the town, so he came in and assisted us in even hanging of the paintings and things. We had a lot of input on colors. We had a lot of input with the interior decorators on developing spaces. When we get into the admin wing, they're taking into consideration what you do. So if you needed a lot of files or if you needed storage, you know, everything was going to be kind of tailor-made from when we came in here day one. Everything you would need is here. We did not have to take anything used from the old building. And that was a nice perk, the way to rejuvenate us. We do have a records division that is accessible to the public over here on the left. We do man that full-time during the day. And on the other side, as you look when you come in, we do our drug drop-off and needle drop-off out there. One thing I'm going to say is you look through the building, we take a lot of pride in cleaning our building. This is year 5 for us. I can't believe it's been 5 years. But we have a professional cleaning company that comes in every day. I have them in during the morning. The building is inspected. We talk about accreditation. but the building's inspected probably 5 times a day. There's a checklist, and I'll actually have you guys take a shot of the checklist because we want to keep our building. Our finance committee, our town manager, keeping this building well maintained is a priority. We hope to be here for 50+ years. They put a lot of money into the building. They expect us to keep this building maintained. So we spend a lot of time on maintenance in this building. This is our training room. This room seats 50 comfortably. We can put up to 60 in here. This has been one of the real pluses for the police and fire. This room is shared by police and fire for training purposes. It also acts as our emergency operations center. There's approximately 10 computer setups in here that IT maintains, TV and radio links. So this is our new operations center. Like I mentioned previously, in 2008 during the ice storm, we didn't have any capabilities in the town of Holden to have our own EOC. So right now we do practice it, we train in here, all the resources are here, and this is where we actually activate in case of an emergency, our emergency operations center. The other thing is that one of the things that we've really benefited from is hosting, being able to host trainings for police and fire, and it makes it more conducive for us monetarily to be able to put people in here without travel and overtime costs. And that's been a tremendous impact on us, especially on our budget and training. And as we grow, we're a 25-man department growing right now, and it means a lot to be able to put extra people into these trainings at a low cost. So that's been a huge benefit of this building. Originally, I think there was a feeling that it might have been a community room, but being an emergency operations center and how much training police and fire do, we pretty much limit it to police and fire. We do have a high school program that's a criminal justice program that uses it for their trial court and things like that, but we're pretty restrictive as far as what's community in here. Like I said, at any time we need to activate it. It needs to be maintained, and even just something as far as like I was concerned was putting it down as community would probably have beaten this room up. And we need to have it maintained, and there's technical things in here that that are set up year round. So that's why we keep this room kind of private for us. This is our records division. One of the drawbacks to the old station was not enough records room. We had things in trailers, we had things in the basement, we had things that got moldy and destroyed. So this was a priority when this room was built. We did the track of files that can be rotated to move. We actually do 10 years of files in here, with every year, 1 year going out, and we just keep what we need to mandate by law in either the detective division or in here as far as homicides, motor vehicle accidents, deaths, etc. So we keep statutorily things after 10 years, but right now for a town of 20,000 people, 1 year goes out, 1 year comes in, and everything is maintained just in this one room. Security is always a big issue when you talk about buildings, and this was no exception. It's key code, key, and video, just to get in. So we're 3 deep on any kind of security in these buildings, in most of the administrative wing. So that's always a huge component. Access to this is gained after hours. When the administrator is not here, it is by supervisors only, have access in case they have to get a report. So this is where we keep juvenile and all our records. This room is used for Mercs firearms interviews. It is a room that we use before we get into the actual part of the police department, kind of a non-custodial area. It's used quite a bit. We actually get a lot of use out of this room. I wasn't sure how much use this room was going to get when we came in here in 2010, but like I said, between the firearms, somebody comes in, you can take them out of the foyer area so they have some privacy. If somebody doesn't want to come into the police station, but you just want to have them come in where it's private, it's worked out very well. This is the chief's office. It's part of the administrative wing that has my administrative assistant's front desk, a little kitchenette area for when we have meetings in the chief's meeting area, which is over to the left. That room actually gets a lot of business also. We do all our accreditation meetings in there. It's about 8 people comfortably. All the staff meetings are done in there. And it's a nice option for if fire's using something. It gives us another option to use a meeting room. It has a smart board and thing in there also. One of the things I do want to mention before I forget, just for historical value, is one of the things I believe that this building was so successful during the construction project was we had extremely good project manager named Gary Kazmarek, who works for the town of Holden. Gary's skills were phenomenal going through, because he's from Holden. He understood the building process in Holden. And the other thing was, Gary stayed on with us. So after we moved into our building in 2010, we had our project manager who had all the connections for heating and air conditioning, the lot, the construction, everything from everything that was needed during the building construction. So if there was a question on a maintenance issue, a warranty, or just operations of the building, I think one of the things that made us successful 5 years into this, and why the building is in such good a shape as it is and been so successful, is because of Gary. Keeping your project manager on, somebody that knows what the building is all about, was huge for us. That was a big plus. Whoever comes in to see our building, we always like to, talk about what Gary did for us. Like I said, this building, we're on the ground floor. Once in a while, sometimes we get a little bit of cold in here on our outside walls being on the bottom. Sometimes we get some humidity being on the bottom floor. If we're gonna do it again, we've dealt with some humidity issues over the last several years, but they've been working on them with our current system. When we do get down to our system, it is a system that's fed by water, so it's heating and air conditioning. We put the wells in before construction. Holden could do it at a much lesser cost. And we also built our antenna, our tower for our radio system we did prior to construction. Holden had some extra monies. It was a cheaper way to go. So we did our wells for our system, and we did our antennas and things, tower for communications previously. We do have a building. The fire station was located next to us, the old fire station. That was $1 million to tear it down, and we revamped it with some monies for about $500,000. So we actually saved that. Over there now is our IT division, extra fire offices, and all records for the town hall. The town hall now is very old, so they've revamped that building. I'm sure you guys will take a picture of it. But that building, like I said, we kept. There's a lot of storage in it, and it's been utilized, so it was a better deal than tearing it down and losing it. The old police station, I should mention, is now Parks and Recreation. 1978, we built it for $250,000. It has some land restrictions to it, some zoning issues to it. It was a much better deal for the town of Holden to keep it. That building's been refurbed and is now our Parks and Recreation department, and it's working out very successful for them. So that's what's happened with the two older buildings. But I can't say enough about having a project manager on board post the building being built. We were very happy with our construction company. We were very happy with our project managers. But having that link really, I think, carried us over to where the building is in as good a shape as it is today. Okay, this is kind of our wing for the police officers. We have 2 interview rooms that back up to the Detective Bureau. So all the site, the glass and things like that. The interview rooms have cameras, everything's up to certification standard, everything's recorded. There's approximately 42 cameras in this whole public safety facility, okay? We do have a room for our court officer liaison. We have a report writing room, which is located here with 3 monitors and police files. That's something for our officers can come in and do their reports. That's worked out very well for us so far. We have a bathroom on the first floor. Of course, like I said, it's a police station. One of the big things we do have is that we made sure there was enough officer safety issues. If they're interviewing somebody, we did a gun locker right by the Detective Bureau in the interview rooms. This has worked out very well. We actually store our tasers here for shift to shift also. Mailboxes are located in this area. Those have worked out fairly well. And also on this floor is going to be, on the other end of the hall is the locker rooms. We'll work our way down towards that. This is our Detective Bureau. We have 5 cubicles in here. We currently have 2 detectives, a sergeant detective and a full-time detective. We also have the luxury of putting the school resource officer in here. She has a desk in here. And we also have a part-time administrator that works out of here. Our part-time administrator, Dave, is actually handicapped and uses a wheelchair. So this area actually worked out very well for him. It was someplace that he could access very easily to get his job accomplished. This is our roll call room, and we also use this as a training room also. For policing, this room has had one of the largest impacts on us. Our other facility did not allow us to have roll call. We now have roll call on PowerPoint, so information is shared from shift to shift, 7, 3, and 11. About 15 minutes after each shift starts, they have roll call. We do everything here from room entry to ethics training. We develop what we call our roll call trainings. They're usually short. We do meet in here and do those. We do a lot of training. Wachusett Regional High School is a priority. It's across the street with 2,400 students. So as you can see on the board, that we do have a lot of training as far as all our school safety issues. But this was the one place that we could come together and share information and do short trainings. We couldn't do it in the old building. It's huge for information sharing. Our detective bureau usually leads the roll call in the morning, and the shift supervisors do it at 3 and 11. So it is a good place. We see what the plan for the day is. The chief attends, the lieutenant attends, all people attend that's working the shift. And it's a great opportunity to share information. We recently had a rash of house breaks. Some of the house breaks, from video, we identified somebody. If they weren't at roll call, if we didn't have the PowerPoint system and the video system, we wouldn't have caught the person. But we had an opportunity to catch the person because somebody was there going, hey, that's so-and-so. So that means a lot to us that we can do those things. This is our firearms maintenance room. We do things in Holden in teams. There's approximately 5 people assigned to this room. One of the biggest problems in our old station was proper venting and things for cleaning guns. So what we do here in Holden is Sergeant Noyes, the firearms lead instructor, is in charge of this maintenance of this room. This room is inspected every day, and the cleaning supplies, extra ammunition, and rifles and storage are in there. If I was going to do something differently, I would have probably did more Kevlar walls in here. There is an office on the other side. Kevlar should have been added to all the walls in this room, and I probably would have liked to see more storage for weaponry. Yeah, we maintain our own weapons in there, but it's a little tight. So it's something, if I could have something a little bit bigger in there for our rifles and shotguns, etc. We take all our rifles and shotguns out of cars when they go in for maintenance, and if they had a place for that, would have been a little bit easier instead of just throwing things on the counter. One of the things we do to limit access, like you said, it's keypad, it's key, and it's video. Once again, 3 deep on security, is that we do a thing with the lesson. Who goes into that room is one of the things we learned was, what we do is, if you need your gun cleaned, you turn it into one of the gun safes. You leave a note for the sergeant. They clean your gun and they return your gun for you. If you need a spare during that time, they furnish you one. So after qualifications, they clean all the guns for the whole department. This is our evidence area. This is accessed by 3 people, the chief, the lieutenant, and the detective sergeant. Access to evidence can be put in refrigeration, or larger items are all put in there. And like I said, it's restricted access. The detective sergeant checks every morning, goes in, checks the evidence, and then it's put in the process. There is a process room here. Excuse me for the mess. We're going through certification. We're doing a lot of cleaning. But right now, we're going through 2 audits right now. And our room's a little messy here, but this is a room that you can check all your evidence in. You can have an intern. You can have somebody else that actually not in the contraband room, and they can work in this front room. We do have the sliding, rotating files in there. Looking at it, for the amount of evidence and crimes that we have, we'll never fill it up. If we do our maintenance correctly, we'll be able to move everything out of there. One of the things that we did not get in this building due to some shrinkage on a couple building proposals was a closet for 2 things. One would be gear. We really are short a closet for like emergency turnout gear for police officers, all hazards packs and things like that. So a closet dedicated to that and a closet dedicated probably to uniforms and things like that would have been beneficial too. Those are 2 things we're kind of short on. We used to put uniforms, some things, we've cleaned that up. We had 1 rack, but it wasn't really sufficient in there. We keep less now than we ever have, but when somebody retires, like with a dress uniform or something, you want to be able to put it somewhere to reuse. We didn't really have a spot for it in this building. We used to have a fish tank in the bottom of our basement, and there was no proper ventilation into fingerprints and things. We do have a state-of-the-art fingerprint fumer machine in here. Once again, we have about a 3 or 4 person team that does crime scene for us. This is where they maintain all their fingerprint gear, et cetera. And this is where we put evidence if needed. And we also have a blood drying machine in the larger area for recovering DNA that we need to. So we bought that when the new building came in also. But right now, this fumer has worked out perfectly for us. The size of it's been great for Holden. Okay, this is our mail cell area. There's 3 cells, video, audio. We do face-to-face checks here. One of the things that we had when we came into this area was we do have a closet space. The closet space is for the apparatus to do any kind of cell extraction. We have pepper foam, cut down tools. There is a fob there for face-to-face checks that we do. Like I said, they are on 24-hour day, 7-day surveillance. The toilets actually flush at our command, not from theirs. One of the things that we did deal with is if you're going to be on the bottom floor, we had some plumbing issues in this area that have been rectified. There was some issues that it was kind of a tough area for, like I said, being on the bottom floor. Plumbing was very tight. We'll show you a picture of that on the way out. But that was one issue, but all that's been rectified, so we're in good shape. Like I said, one of the things that we did here in Holden, which was during the building construction phase, we actually brought in the state inspectors to make sure that everything we were doing in here was meeting their qualifications. So when we did open it up, you know, you've heard the horror stories of we built a cell room we can't use. So one of the things you want to do is bring them in early, have them part of the building process, have them part of the inspection process as construction's going on. We do have 6 cells that all have barriers. The juvenile cell backs up to this, and then there's 2 female cells on the other side. A total of 6 cells. There was some adjustments made in this area as far as when we get into the booking room, adding of bars. What we wanted to do was make sure the offices felt safe and comfortable. There's panic alarms, they're on video, there's phones, all those things in there because we really wanted to make this a safe area. The old station, there was no safety involved in our booking. So that was a priority, made the offices part of the solution, made some adjustments where the camera was, where we put the bars for handcuffing, where we put the computers. That was all part of what we had some input back from the offices because that's where they're working and that's where they need to be safe. Like I said, this is our booking area. We come in from we have a Sally Port entrance, so we have overflow when you come through 2 doors that are more secured, heavier duty locks on that. There is a speak through. If there was a mass arrest, you can put probably about 8 people in there comfortably handcuffed. We usually in Holden process 1 at a time with 2 officers. The average booking in this area takes 20 to 30 minutes. We did add some extra bars around, like for the fingerprint area. We wanted to make that safe. We moved our Cooper camera system when we came in, like I said, just to make it as user-friendly as possible. My offices, I call them the kids, they can book somebody very quickly in here. It's that efficient. We usually have a supervisor oversee the booking. He can be over here. We have the computer desk. The computers are covered, so there's no computer monitors or anything to get to. BT is set up over here. And like I said, this area also is scrutinized in the morning and after, 3 times a day. It's inspected. It's cleaned. There's a dedicated cleaning every Sunday down here by the cleaning company. We usually hit it during the week, but Sundays are usually the day they come in here and do a dedicated. We also found that using a private company every 3 months to maintain what we do in here, disinfectant, keeping people healthy and safe. We have a private firm come in and they disinfect all the cruisers and they disinfect and go through all the cells every 3 months. And we like to keep that, so it makes it safer for our offices also. Especially when you're transporting prisoners and things in the back of these cars. It's plastic seats and things in the back, so they're fairly easy to clean. So it's been very low key. It's very low money for what we get out of it. This is our geothermal plant. Holden does not use fossil fuels in their public safety building. We either cool it for air conditioning, the water coming in from the ground. That we have 3 wells, and that we did previously, and we heat it. So the water comes in, it goes through these coolers or heaters, it heats it up, and then that's how we get our heating and air conditioning. There was a payback when oil was fairly high when we built the building. I think our payback was somewhere like a 20 years breakthrough. Oil goes a little cheaper, it's probably a little longer, but like I said, we kind of like the fact that we can not rely on fossil fuels in the building, We do have a natural gas option that if the wells go down, or if there's a problem with the system, we can actually go to a gas-fired operation. This is our bay area. We can put up to 5 cruisers in here. With that and our awning on the outside of the building, for a storm, we can just about have everything covered. Our cruiser fleet's about 14. So instead of wasting time shoveling cars out, not getting cars out, we are able to get everything undercover in here. We use non-potable water. The water is recycled through here for washing cruisers. It goes through a system, and then when we wash the cruisers, it's used that water, so we're not wasting fresh water on washing cruisers. The floor is heated. That's worked out fairly well. I know, excuse the floor being dirty today, but we just did it 5 years. We did the coating on the floor, and that's held up. We just did it again this year. So about once every 5 years, we're going to do the floor over. We did have vehicle supply storage and a closet. We got shrunk down in our building plans several years ago. Those areas on a wish list would be larger. We actually built an outbuilding. If you get some extra cement, you have some extra space. Somebody had some foresight that we put a pad out back, and we actually, for tires, snow blower storage and all those kinds of things, lawnmowers, we didn't have room for it in this building. So what we did was, during construction, the project manager said we had extra cement. They put a pad down, had extra building materials from the building being built, were put to the side, and Worcester Vocational School came out and built us a building. So that was a nice little forethought, nice little perk. The kids were fantastic that built it, but it gave us a nice option to get some of the stuff that we didn't have room for in here. So between the clothes closet, a storage closet for emergency gear, and these two areas are probably our biggest drawback. One of the things you'd want to look at also is the gun lockers for storage. If I was going to do it over again, I'd probably just do one. I don't think that the size of the department that we needed more than one of those. We built, those were aftermarket. We fabricated some things, they were steel, and we fabricated some covers for that. So I think one of the mistakes we made is where we put those, because every morning at 6 a.m. our cars are washed, and they were getting wet and started to rust. So we refabricated those, came up with that. There's probably a better system for a gun storage locker. Probably should have gone on the wall over there that doesn't catch the water. Our awning was put on. One of the things we learned from looking at other stations was we did not want to connect it to the building. We did not connect it to the building because it does not need fire suppression if it's not connected to the building. Every building that we looked at with fire suppression, the systems were constantly under maintenance, constantly rusting, and constantly breaking down. And if we had that this winter, it would have been a mess. So there's no fire suppression on the awning. We can put about 4 to 5 cars under there, and that's worked out well. Generator is run every Thursday, full load. Like I said, that's a very important part of what we do. That's worked out fantastic. And like I said, our little outbuilding that we built really worked out well for storage. And as you can see, the building actually looks very nice. They did a great job on it. Was the old fire station, which is now Records, CERT operation in there, so it supports fire, and there's extra storage in there, so we did not lose that building. Just a couple things on snow removal. When you get upstairs to the fire department, they did heat the driveway. We have a heated sidewalk on the entry of the building. One of the mistakes we made with being on the bottom floor here is that we probably did not run out a heated driveway coming out of the police base. That would have been something that we probably needed to do. We get that's a constant kind of ice area that we need to work on all the time. This is our gym. This was a multi-faceted area. It's both police and fire. The police locker room, female and male, attached to this on the bottom floor. Fire has to go upstairs and use their locker room. Like I said, this is one of the only shared areas between police and fire. This is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It was a joint operation to fund the gym. Town of Holden Building Committee kicked in new monies. The Holden Police Union and the Fire Union. So it was kind of, everybody worked together to get this gym done. And it's been a great melting pot. You know, fire gets to work out with the guys, they get to meet each other. It's a new generation. After 9/11, it's a new generation doing policing and fire. And it's a great spot for these guys to get together, so it's worked out well. Okay, this is the female locker room. The male locker room is about twice as big. It does have the same locker system. The lockers are vented, electrical, and storage. We did enough building in this area to get 2 lockers per person right now in the department, so just so everybody can store all their gear here. Like I said, they're vented, electrical. It works out well. Our officers are allowed to work out on duty. We get an hour and 15 minutes a day, so the locker room gets a lot of use. Once again, we went with a little higher quality floor in here, and that's held up very well. And this area is also cleaned every day by the cleaning company, so it's maintained very well. Holden has 2 police officers that are female, so the area hasn't been overused. In the male locker room, I probably would have liked to see, since we're on the bottom floor, we were a little restricted on the showers that we built. I think we could have done maybe a better job with making something a little more heavy duty in there. This is the kitchen area. This area is, like I said, available to the guys 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One of the things that we did run into a little problem in here was like venting. We're on the bottom floor, and we get a little cold air and things on that. So it's one of the things we have to work on is that. Other than that, it's a good area. Like I said, our guys are allowed to eat their lunches and stuff, dinners together. Another good area for sharing information. But for this department, would I wish it was a little bit bigger? Yes, but it's been very functional so far for us. This is our 911 room and our computer room. We've actually added into our computer room, there was some room for growth. We now have several servers from, like I said, I mentioned that the town hall is very antiquated. So now that the public safety building now is a host to some of the mainframes for running the town. Once again, very limited access in here. We kept 911 separate from computers. This is a very busy area when you're going through upgrades and the technical side. Verizon's in here a lot, 911's in here a lot, so we wanted to keep it secured. This is our sergeants area. We have an area for up to 6 sergeants that also oversee dispatch, which is located to the left. That's our schedule board. It's worked out very well. All officers and employees can access that from their own computer. One of the things as we get into dispatch, you're going to see is that area can last about 2 hours longer in a fire. They're always very excited to hear that they can stay during the fire, but that is a high security area. We do, once again, keypad, key entry, and video going into dispatch. We work very hard at limiting who goes into dispatch. We are now a regional dispatch center, as of this year, Princeton, Holden, and then West Boylston in 2017. So it's a very busy area, and we do restrict access in there quite a bit. They have their own kitchen, and they have their own bathroom. When we first moved in there, one of the first things we saw was that the females needed that phone moved in the bathroom. So there was always adjustments being made, and we're quick on doing those things. So this is our dispatch center. We currently have 4 consoles. A lot of research went into this. There was a committee of about 3 or 4 very seasoned dispatchers that went all over New England, from Providence to Portland, Maine, to look at what would be made in here. Right Line company in Worcester designed everything, so it was nice that if there was an adjustment that had to be made, they were fairly close to do that. We have added extra screens in here as we added Princeton into dispatch, a security screen. We do monitor Wachusett Regional High School. We have access into their system now for emergencies, and we've actually located approximately 4 cameras across the town of Holden at different intersections, and actually on our communications tower that oversees Wachusett Regional High School also outside. So we do have the access that if the Emergency Operations Center needs to see into a hallway, if there's an active shooter at Wachusett Regional High School, we can access that hallway. We've actually done it in the past where we watched the rooms being evacuated from the EOC. So that's been a great tool. We work very well with the school superintendent in his office. We do have GPS on the board. We do allow the TV to be on from 7 at night till 7 in the morning. And right now we have 2 dispatches on at all times, one on 11 to 7. And when we get to West Boylston, comes in, there'll be 2 on every shift. So that's our tour. We're always accessible in town of Holden. If anybody else would like to come through and take a tour of the building, we've always been kind of open and honest about some of the deficiencies we've had, but overall, it's a phenomenal building. Castle Booze, who built it, Gary Kazmarek, who was the project manager. I gotta give credit to Jack Chandler, the fire chief, and George Sherrill. those are the guys, hundreds of hours of preparation went into this. A lot of oversight went into this. But like I said, does it change? It changes the philosophy of the department. Coming in here, does it make you more professional? Yes. Roll call, detective bureau, administrative offices. We take a lot of pride in this building. Hopefully, like I said, today's the middle of the winter was a little tough maintenance-wise, but we take a lot of pride in it from the outside right to the inside of the building. So, thank you.